Well, since it's still winter and still very cold out there, I thought it would be fun to do just one more winter scene, maybe my last one this winter. But anyway, my name is Yovette. If you have not been here before, I'm glad you joined me today. Let's just go get started. I think you're going to enjoy this little painting. To start with, I just have 4 colors here plus white, so it's going to be a fairly easy palette. The first thing I did is spread on my soft white medium. Now this is just a blend of titanium white and linseed oil, and I mix about 50-50% of each one, and then I just spread it on, just a nice thin coat, and then you're ready to go. Now let's start out with our sky. I'm going to mix a little bit of phthalo blue and alizarin crimson. I'm not very much phthalo blue. I probably got too much in there. So let's just spread that out and see. I think that'll probably work. With this brush that I've already used now, and this is my old trusty chip brush. I like this for scrubbing on backgrounds. But I'm just going to go in, I'm going to take a little bit of this. I'm not cleaning the brush, I'm just going, you know, I had my white on it. So I'm going to start up in this corner here. And let's just go across a little more. Okay, and just keep blending that out. Big X strokes. And as you come down, it picks up more of this white medium, and the color will get lighter and lighter and lighter. I want to add just a little dab of crimson in here also, through this part right in here. I think that would be very pretty. A little more pinkish color. Now I've been asked to do a composition painting from Deji. He's one of my followers on YouTube. We've become good friends. And he wanted to know about composition and how I compose a painting. So what I'm going to start off with, what is composition? Composition is just merely how you compose a painting. It's the elements that you put into a painting. And so that's basically what it is. Now I'm going to have some water down here. So let's just come across with our colors. Now notice I have a little more pink in the water. And come from the other side, and notice that I'm always working from the outside in. I never start in here and come out this way. Always start from the outside in. The reason being, if you start from the inside, you're going to have a little globby mess in there that's going to be very hard to get rid of. Okay, this is looking good. Just come across lightly, just kind of blending that all together. Oh, that's pretty. That's a very pretty start. Okay, and now with my flat floral brush. This is my old scrubby brush, but I love this brush. I use it for so many things. But what I want to do is go into some white here, a fairly good size amount of white. And I want to just brighten this right in here. I want a brighter tone in the sky here. Now with my soft bunny brush, it's also called a blender brush or a hake brush. It comes by many names. Anyway, I just want to smooth out any little brush strokes in here. So just lightly going across. Big, big, big strokes. Okay, now back to the composition part. I have here, you probably can't see it, but I have a little black line here, 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 and here. Now what this does is it divides the canvas into sections, and I want 9 sections. So I have 3 across here, and I have 3 this way. They're imaginary, but the lines are there. This is called the law of thirds. So one of the first things you want to do when you're composing your composition is figure out where your law of thirds is going to be. The next thing you want to do is figure out where your horizon line is going to be. And I think, let's just use a little dot here. I'll just this is where one of my corners is. This is another one. This one's here. This one's here. Okay, these would be where my somewhere in this little section right here is going to be the center of interest. Now in this case, I'm going to have a little cabin, and I'm going to put it over on this side. But for balance purposes, I want to have maybe a tree over here, and probably a couple trees over here, but still keeping them in the center third. I'm not going all the way out to the edges. My horizon line maybe is going to be probably about up in this area, and my cabin will be a little bit below and a little bit above that. I want to start out with some background. To do that, I'm going to use my number 3 fan brush. And I'm going to go into some of this. Let's go into some blue here. I want some sap green. These are for kind of background trees, and a little bit of crimson. So anyway, let's go ahead. Now this is one of my lines here. I'm going to start out, let's just go ahead and make some taps. We'll get my handle back so you can see this better. These are far off, distant trees. Let's get a little more of this blue and crimson and green. And let's just let that kind of trail off. Now I have a clean, dry chip brush here. You have to be careful with these. They do kind of shed, but that's okay. Okay, what I want to do now is just start tapping lightly on the bottom here and trail off the edge. I want this to kind of fade away over here. So these are going to look way off in the distance. Just come across here. See, and as it picks up that white, it just makes it fade even more. And just lightly come up on it. See how it makes those little peaks? And you can also bring this up from down here, which will blend it even more. Make it look far away. Very kind of misty looking. Isn't that cool? Next, let's put a little cabin in. And so I'm going to use my small knife. It's a number 5 palette knife. And this is going to be a small cabin. I don't want something huge. So let's first go into some white. Grabbing a little roll. Can you see that? Let's start out with the snow on the roof. So my little cabin is right here. It's going to be right about here. Because here is this where this line meets here. So let's just go and grab, let's start right about here. Just bringing it straight down. This is not going to be a huge cabin. Wipe the knife off. Let's grab a little brown, pull it out flat, and then grab a roll. And let's just go in here. And grab another little roll. And let's come right down here. Wipe the knife, and let's grab one more roll. Let's go to the other side. And this point here should be a little bit lower. And if it takes more than one load of paint to do this, just go ahead and add it. And let's grab some white now and go to the other side of the roof. There. And we need a little bit of highlight, so let's just grab some of this brown, a little bit of white right over the top. And see, that makes a nice marble mix. And let's just very lightly, because our light source is here, so it would be hitting the cabin here. So just lightly. Oh, I haven't got enough white, sorry. Let's try that again. Do the other side. There. So I don't want too much. I don't want it too light. And we need a little door in here. Just a little door. Fine line of white. We'll just hit this side, and a little bit across the top. With the clean fan brush, I have actually, I think 3 fan brushes that I'm going to be using, so I can work back and forth from dark to light. But anyway, with this clean fan brush, I'm going to grab some white. Just load both sides of the brush. And let's just bring in a little bit of this color. Let's do this way, because we would have some shadow on this side, because the light is here. And let's grab a little more white. And let's say that there's kind of this sloping going down here. When I was young, we lived in Minnesota for a while, a few years. And gosh, I remember my sister and I loved the snow. We'd go out and have snowball fights, and we'd go sledding and go ice skating and all those fun things. But I'll tell you, one thing that we loved the most was snow angels. Do you ever remember making snow angels in the snow? Oh, we used to have so much fun. That was just great. That was one good memory of Minnesota. And let's grab a little of that blue. Very little bit of blue, because it is so strong. And let's just go in here and just kind of make a pathway. Just spread it out. And now back to that fan brush with the dark on it. I want to go into this dark color. It's got blue, crimson, green, just really dark color. And I want to make a tree on this side of the cabin. Let's go in and let's just start a tree. Let's just make the point just slightly higher than these trees in the background. This is going to be a fairly straight tree. Load the brush, and let's just start coming down. I'm actually going to even hit the corner of the house here and overlapping it some. Coming down almost to this line right here. And let's just go ahead and make some little, little brush-like stuff. And with this brush, let's just go up. Bring this, oops, there's a hair. Don't want a hair in there. Bring this out, bring this out. And that's kind of like a shadow underneath. With the knife again, I want to make just a little bit of a trunk. So I have just a hair of white in that dark. And let's just go ahead and very lightly. Now in this little container here, I have, if you can see it, I don't think you can, just a little bit of thinner. This is water mixable thinner. If you're using regular paints, then by all means use regular thinner, but for me this works good. I'm going to dip my little liner brush into the thinner and then into the brown. I just want to make a very thin mix. Very thin, almost ink-like consistency. And let's have a fence back here. And let's just say this fence is going over the hill. And it's just going to disappear. And it gets smaller, smaller, smaller. Now with the fan brush, I want to add some more white. Lots of white. And let's just bring this in through here. Just kind of blending this into the pathway a little bit. Yeah, that looks better. Okay, now I want to go into this green again, this shade here. Very dark color, so again we need more blue, more crimson, more green. And this is going to be a pretty good sized tree. So I'm putting a lot of paint on my brush. And I want, for balance, I want to have this tree kind of on this third. See, like we've got our line here and our line here. I want it closer though, so I'm going to start up high. I'm going to start just outside that dot. And come down. And let's go ahead and fill it in. Notice I load pretty frequently. And I think right in there is probably good because it's a little above, and let's do just a hair more. A little below. Yeah. Okay. And some bushy things. And let's just go ahead and lift up a little bit. And blend this out, excuse me, blend this out on the bottom here. And with my clean white brush, I'm going to bring in more white. And let's just bring it in this way. Cool. See how I'm keeping my corners darker? That's another thing about composition, is it'll draw your eye inside. And then I also see something else I want to do. Is this right here? There. Kind of like it makes a shadow under that fence. So now let's have a lake down here. I want to go into this purplish color. Let's go into the crimson, some blue. This is the color that we started out with, except maybe more towards the crimson side. And let's just make, maybe right in here, let's just do this. Just to give us an idea of where we're going here. Okay, now we'll go into quite a bit. Little blue, little crimson, a lot of crimson. And let's just start here and bring down. So I want a little bit more of a solid line there. So I'm going back into my, my floral brush. I'm going to go ahead and just, I want this deeper in here. Right here. Now just lightly bring across. And with our knife, let's go into a little bit of brown. Nice thin roll, nice thin roll. And I want to make a little bit of a bank here. I had another good memory of Minnesota when we were young. My sister and I would grab a big long pole and we'd tie a big long string onto it. And then at the end of it, we'd attach a safety pin, if you can believe that, of all things. And we lived in a place it's called Minnehaha Falls or Minnehaha Parkway. They had a creek down there. We thought we saw fish in there often, and little fish, like minnows more. And so we would take our little fishing poles, our homemade fishing poles, and we'd go down to this little creek. Man, we'd spend such a long time just throwing that fishing line back and forth, and we never did catch anything. I don't know why. Do you suppose a safety pin had anything to do with it? And some more. This time we'll go this way. Here, I like that. We could also have a few other places here where we can have some rocks. Might have a few back here. Maybe one here. Oh, I think that's probably good. So again, with a little white. Just hit the tops. This is very, very light. And let's just bring this down here a little bit. There would be a little bit of shadow under here. And we would definitely need a water line. So into a little bit of titanium white, nice flat roll, and let's just go here. I want to also make just a hair of a trunk on this other tree. And I don't know, what do you think? Should we have some snow on top of that? I don't know. Let's have... Now I'm looking at this and I think this is unbalanced because it's very heavy here, but not so much here. So in order to fix that, what I'm going to do is go into these three colors again. I'm going to make a small one here. With the knife, small trunk, and let's go into a touch of blue and a lot of white, because this is going to be highlighting the tree. So let's just go in here. Now I don't want a tremendous amount of highlight. Just a little bit, and just sometimes I'm overlapping just a tiny bit over the trunk. Perfect. Let's do that, wipe that brush off, go into more white. See, I start concentrating and my voice gets so soft. Let's go into here. More blue. I hope you guys enjoyed this one. If you did enjoy it, I hope you subscribe, put a like on there. I always love those likes. And be sure and share it with one of your friends, especially if you have a left-handed friend. I am left-handed, and I love teaching left-handed students. Now, any place you want to highlight, just bring more white in. Let's see if I can do this without massacring anything. Let's have a few little birds. Whoops, that's got a little glob on it. I don't want a glob. How about one here? Here. And I have one over here. Well, I got excited about finishing up this painting once I got this basic part done. And so what I've done here is I let this dry totally for 1 week. After that, I added a few birds because I just thought that would really look better. And then I enhanced the sky just a little bit with just a little bit of color. I straightened up that cabin. The door had been a bit crooked, and I also wanted to touch up the roof a little bit. And let's see what else. The pathway, I also added some dark to the pathway just to bring it out more. It was pretty faded, and it just needed that little extra bit of dark. So then I highlighted the snow with some white, and I also added a little bit of crimson and a touch of the lavender color. I thought that really brought the snow out quite a bit. Then I highlighted the trees because they needed just a little bit more snow. So I thought they look a lot better now than they did before. So anyway, here's another video for you to enjoy, and be sure and come back next month when I'll have something brand new waiting for you. Have a good day and God bless. Bye-bye.